What's up?
Booyah! What an entrance was that, man? Holy moly, rice-a-roni.
Stepping our game up.
Yeah, someone found the options on the computer, I see.
Yeah, no, I had someone make that for us. So
Cool.
I got some other stuff made too, so I'll have to show you that later. That's the one I picked to use for today, though.
Yeah, I like your cartoon.
Yeah, I thought that, I figured we didn't do much with that picture here, and really all we're going to really do is 8x10. So I was like, it'd be cool to do something else with that. And that's really our only good picture, dude. I look to see what other pictures we have, and they're all when we're, having a good time, and they're really nothing we can use as show promotion stuff. So.
Yeah, like us, Wale, and
yeah, Wale Mania for sure. What's up, Nick? How's it going? Yeah, man. So I was like, I want to do some of that picture. So I thought that was a cool idea. I think we look like cool cartoons.
Yeah, dude, I was like stoked. I saw that. I was like, wow, that's cool. That's definitely what we should do for the 8x10s.
Right. I'm down with that. So what's going on, man? How's your week going?
Dude, it's going good, man. Just been super busy. I had a show last week, I believe it was. Atomic. It was really well. I wrestled against this guy, Alex Todd, and then now in 2 weeks I have a show with Atomic, and I'm wrestling Chico Adams for the I believe it is for some type of championship that he holds. I don't know what, because I know he's not the heavyweight champion, so I don't know what the other title is. Hopefully it's not hardcore.
I don't think it is. I saw it too, and I don't remember off the top of my head.
It's a 0-something championship or something. I don't know the name of it.
All I know is though you've already had the tag champs and you've been the heavyweight champ for Atomic, so you'd be like a Triple Crown champion for Atomic if you pull this off.
Yeah, I mean, really, I just want to go back after Shannon Moore. I mean, me and Shannon Moore had like one of the best chemistries and some of the best matches that I've had, and I really enjoy going to battle against Shannon Moore. I mean, that guy is so good in the ring, and he's probably one of the guys that every time I go against, I know that I got to bring my A game, and he's been one of the guys that stepped up my wrestling.
There you go. That's right. Yeah, man. I want to see you go for that. I mean, you need to get that title back. That's definite for sure. Yeah. So Nick says that we need to give a huge shout out to Red Velvet for last night on AEW, as well as her time on Dark this last week, teaming up with Brandy Rhodes.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool little tag team, I believe. So, huh?
Yeah, mixing it up. I like it. It was fun to watch them together. It really
was. They had great chemistry, and man, Red is really stepping up her game in the ring. I mean, last week she did her standing moonsault. She hasn't done that in a really long time, and every time she has a match, she's always challenged herself to do a new move and to just make herself better. And that's what I think is really made her shine in AEW, is that she's going out there and always doing new stuff and never getting stale and bringing a lot of cool energy and great energy into the ring.
Yeah, most definitely. What's cool too? She's gonna have a chance to as well, because in all honesty, like AEW's women's division, there's been left to desire. Like they haven't done as good as people thought they were going to with the people they've brought in right off the bat. So, and a good example of that is I think the women's champion hasn't been on Dynamite in a few weeks till this last week, and then there's kind of a match at Full Gear, but there's no story to it or anything. It's just her and Nyla Jax are gonna wrestle again for like the third time. So. Yeah. To see that, like Red's kind of, because it feels like they're building a story with Red and Brandy and some of these other girls that are starting to come up now. That it's cool because they can be the group that really make that first real big impression for the women's division for AEW now.
Yeah, like you're saying, it's really cool that AEW is actually doing a storyline, and you can start to see it. And as a fan, that's always what you wanted. Like we as a fan. We love storylines. We love, like, not just, he wrestles him tonight. We love the build-up. We love, like, let it drag out for, like, a month. Let us get emotionally invested into what we're watching, because if we're emotionally invested in what we're watching We're going to pay attention. We're going to make sure that we don't miss 1 second of it. But then when you do these quick little storylines here and there, you kind of get lost up in the shuffle and everything looks the same. But when you actually really spend time and create a storyline, which AEW is doing with Red and Brandy, it makes you want to watch. It makes you want to be invested. I mean, I'm not just saying that because she's my girl. I'm just saying, like, I enjoy good stories. It's like a good movie or a good book or a good podcast. You want to hear the stories. You want to, get to know the people, figure out why are they fighting? What's the reason why she's going to battle?
Right. Yeah. I'm enjoying it. I'm excited to see where this goes. And, yeah, Nick, you're right. Wes and Red Velvet Wrestling power couple. I know another wrestling power couple that's in AEW that I'm just saying would make a great feud. Nick also said it was the Atomic Next Level title is which you're going to be winning this next week. And we'll be calling you that on the next episode then. Yeah, the Darby and Cody storyline, that's pretty good stuff as well, which is interesting that you bring up Cody because that was something I was going to ask you about, Wes. And that is, it came out this week that WWE was not going to go any further on the trademark of Cody Rhodes. So he's technically got his name back. And he came out. Yeah, and he came out on Dynamite last night. And actually, when they went off air, said that I can now be Cody Rhodes again. But then here's the thing. He also did an interview. It must have been today. Because today's Thursday, so Dynamite. So either last night or today, where he's actually said, though, he's probably going to just go by Cody, though, in the wrestling world. He's not going to probably bring back the Rhodes to it. So you being someone who comes from a wrestling family and carries, a legendary name, what's your thoughts on that? Like, do you think maybe, I mean, he's free to do what he wants, but I mean, I think it'd be cool if he started going by Cody Rhodes again and not just Cody. I don't like wrestlers. I don't like that all these wrestlers are going towards just a one-word name either,
I disagree with you. I believe that Cody's worked so hard and did it all without his kind of using his last name. I mean, Cody's super proud of his last name. Everyone has mad respect for Dusty, and, that's not even a question. But the question is that he worked so hard and separating himself. And even though WWE, said you can't use your name, he still said, screw you, I'm going to make it no matter what. I think that's kind of his mindset is when he sits back and looks at it and he's thinking, he's like, should I let WWE win and use my real name, or should I keep using the name that's blazed trails and separated myself from everybody else and did it all without having to use my last name? For me, that's pretty powerful. I think I would do what Cody's doing, to be honest with you.
I get that. I definitely get the whole not doing with giving up to the WWE and using, finally getting the name back and them using it. Billy, Trisha, what's up, guys? So I definitely get that. I just think, and no taking away from what he said, he doesn't need the name to make it, or he didn't need it to make it because he's up there, he's top of that company, whether he's in the main event or not. I mean, he's just one of the stars. So it would just be fun to still be able to call him Cody Rhodes, I think. But let me ask you this. When you broke in, was there any other names you thought about? Did you think about doing something else? Or was it always going to be Wes Briscoe? Now, I do understand, though, you went as Wes. You were Wes Briscoe, obviously, in the wakeboarding world. I mean, that's your name. So it would be hard to come from this professional athlete life into there. But was there thoughts of it? Were you wanted to separate the worlds?
Yeah, of course they did the stupid, sit down and give us 10 names that you'd like to be called. And you're like, oh, great. Like, that's like the worst thing possible. It's like 10? That's a lot. And
yeah,
there's a chance that they might call me one of these names. Woof. So, of course. But then, like you said, I came from the extreme sports background. So I already had a pretty strong following international, not just in the U.S., like all over the world, from Singapore to Australia to everywhere, because of my professional wrestling from Mexico. I mean, for my professional wakeboarding. I turned pro at 18 and, I toured the world from 18 to 26, where I pretty much went to every single country, every single state. I've done multiple RV trips to every single state promoting our company, our boards, and then of course my own pro model, the signature WES BRISCO Gator board. And so I kind of already had like a pretty big following going into wrestling, and they kind of wanted to capitalize on that because my whole pitch was like, let me try to bring some people that normally wouldn't watch wrestling, and let's see if we can bring that crowd, because that's a pretty big crowd, the extreme sports crowd. I mean, you got snowboarding, you got skateboarding, you got surfing. There's so much stuff to do. So it's there's a whole fan base out there, like Darley Allen. He's starting to bring the skateboarding scene. A lot of the skateboarders, he did a stunt with Steve-O, and I believe he did some stuff with Tony Hawk. So there's a lot of cool stuff to reach out and try to get a new audience and a new fan base. And I think that's what they were going for. And, I was to be honest with you, you could have called me Susie. I didn't really care. I just wanted to get in that ring and wrestle.
Nice. Do you remember any of the names you wrote down?
No, it was way too long ago.
Oh, man, I wish.
Way too long ago.
I so wish you could find that list. I just so curious to know what you came up with.
Yeah, it was way too long ago.
That's great.
I know my dad helped me with some stuff.
Did he?
Yeah.
That's the thing though. It'd be hard to, like you said, you came from a background of pro sports already. So like to me, if anybody who watched you in that world and then was watching wrestling, it would be like, well, why is he not? He was WES BRISCO. Like why is he doing the new name now? You know what I mean? Like it would be weird when you have notoriety, but then you just cut it off and start something completely different. But then, some people also are like leaving the past behind, stuff like that, depending on what their road to get them there was. So yeah, man. I mean,
I had a great past in professional wakeboarding. I ended on my own note, and I was really successful. I had my 2 pro model boards. I was sponsored by Kicker, by all these crazy companies. I lived a pretty good life, and I'll never look back on it and wish I never did it. It was awesome. I got to see the world. So why not capitalize on all that? So of course, I try to bring a little bit of extreme sports, and as I kind of started evolving my character in wrestling, like from FCW, I became a little bit more. I went back to my roots, which was amateur wrestling. I have 2 different black belts, boxing. I went into more of a little bit of snug, little bit rough style, but yet every once in a while I'll still do the big flips off the top rope, or moonsault, or whatever you want. I can pretty much do. But as I've got older, my style has changed, and I've got a little bit more, just not saying angry, but more intense, more just, if I'm in that ring, it's for a purpose, and you better be ready, because I'm ready to whoop that ass every time I step in that ring.
hell yeah. So how many years in total were you doing the wakeboarding as a pro?
As pro?
As pro.
18,
like as a job?
18 to 25.
Oh, okay. So now do me a favor because to me, when I think wakeboarding, I mean, you getting pulled behind a boat going how fast?
25 to 23. It's basically snowboarding behind a boat.
Right. And you're going at good speeds, you're hitting waves. Water hurts if you fall. We all know this. So
especially when you're going that fast.
Yeah. So my question is, like, what do you think is I mean, obviously wrestling is a rough world to be in, but wakeboarding and extreme sports could be just as rough. So I mean, what do you think? Which one's harder on the body, would you say?
They're the same.
You think?
They both feel like once you get done, it feels like you've been in a car accident every single time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And you've been going at it since you were 18, man.
I mean, younger than that. I mean, you got to think.
I did. You're pro at 18.
Yeah, like I did amateur wrestling. I did football. I did boxing. I did mixed martial arts, and then also wakeboarded that whole time through high school while I was doing all those sports. And then as soon as I graduated high school, I went straight on the pro circuit. I would have went earlier, but I was going for a state championship in wrestling, and I couldn't quit school and still wrestle. So I had to just finish the wrestling season. And by then, wakeboarding season was over with. So I might as well just get my diploma and like graduate. So I kind of just stuck it out. And then I did the pro circuit the next year coming up.
So let me ask you this, and this kind of ties in. I see a question out here asking about like your parents basically, like when you were in high school. Like, so for me, man, like I don't know what it was like for you, but for me, and we're from two different worlds too, and different parts of the country where things are different. So me growing up in high school, I don't remember any, like I don't remember my parents really being like, we want this for you, other than just be successful, be with that. So, and I was involved in different things, not near as much as you. So it was, for me, it was kind of broadcasting. I think that was known halfway through high school that it was like, I want to be in broadcasting, entertainment, something like that. Didn't know where that was going to go at that time. And to be honest, when I decided on radio as a profession and then went to school and did all that, I got like pushback from my parents kind of. I felt like it wasn't really fully supported. And I've had these talks with my parents before about, that back in the day, because now I'm old and we talk about things now. And to me, like I never felt like I had that support, but I'm just questioning, like when you were doing all these different things and had all these avenues, because all around you're just a great athlete. So like, were your parents there kind of being like, oh, the football field looks really nice, or were they, hey, you go to the Olympics wrestling, or were they kind of just like, hey man, whatever it is, just go?
As long as it wasn't interrupting the sports that I was doing. So during wrestling season, all I did was wrestle. When that's done, football season, all I did was football. When that was done, I wakeboarded until the next season, the next sport. In between, I did boxing, MMA, and that's like at nighttime. So like you can't wakeboard during nighttime. So, for some, I felt like my parents did it just to keep me out of trouble. I figured the more sports I did, the more that I was just like, because in Florida, and there's a lot of bad things happening. Like in high school, I've seen so many drug overdose. I've seen so much crazy stuff, and that's in high school. And I figured that they did it just to keep me away from trouble. And the more that I'm involved in sports, the less I can mess up because I'm not around, bad stuff. And living in Florida, it's one of the beautifulest places in the world, but yet it also has its dark side. So, I felt like they really just pushed me into sports. And as long as I didn't mix the two sports and kind of like lose my focus, they were cool. So as long as I was just focused on whatever task that was in front of me, they fully supported me.
Let me ask you this, because you mentioned that you had possibly were going to maybe do the wakeboarding before you were even done with high school. So I
Yeah.
assume that would have meant would you have dropped out?
Yeah, I was really close to dropping out.
How did that go over at home? Because I know if I was ever in that position, okay,
that didn't go over, and that's why I didn't.
okay.
If it was up to me, I probably would have.
Yeah, my parents would have killed me if that would
Yeah, and I had good grades, so it was like they were like, I was like, oh, just go get my GED. They're like, no, you need to get your high school diploma. I was like, all right, whatever.
Right. Oh, it's amazing though, because it's like, but I can make money.
Oh, I was already making money at being an amateur because I had sponsors. So I was already making money. I wasn't making like serious money.
So then were they really cool? Did they come out and watch the tournaments and stuff and the competitions for the wakeboarding as much as they could?
My dad would travel with me as much as he could.
That's dope.
It was like me and my dad's thing.
Nice.
My mom would come every once in a while, or she'd just ride in the boat or something. But like it was crazy. One time we had Chavo Guerrero. I believe we talked about that story. We brought him to one of the wakeboard contests, and
Yeah, we did.
he was one of the judges. And
yeah, guys, check it out on YouTube. You can watch that interview where he tells that story.
Yeah, so it was really really fun, and I had a great time. And then of course that led into going into FCW, which was like a whole nother beast. Like I don't think I've ever talked about it the transfer of being a professional wakeboarder to a professional wrestler is totally different. I mean, it is night and day. And I was kind of a deer in headlights at first. I'm like, what is going on here? It's like a whole nother playing field. And like in the wakeboarding industry, there wasn't too many like people trying to rat you out or people like, shady people trying to fight for their job or, you're trying to steal their spot or just, there's not that hatred compared to pro wrestling. There's a lot of hatred. There's a lot of walking on eggshells. In professional wakeboarding, there is no eggshells. There is no like everybody's cool with everybody. I mean, of course, you got the occasional dick, but other than that, everybody's like, "What's up?" Hey man, you better be ready. I'm bringing my game. Like that's how it was in professional wrestling. You got egos. You got people that think that they're better than other people. It's a whole other beast. And me coming from that wakeboarding world, I was like, holy moly. But luckily, I know how to hold my own. So I was like, if anybody wants to test me, I'll scrap them, like straight up. Like that's what my dad said too. So I wasn't really scared. And back in those days, you could get a little stiff or shoot on somebody and not get in trouble. These days you can't do it. You'll get in trouble. But I just made sure that no one messed with me. And it was a shocker because I remember coming in there and like one of my gimmicks was I was wearing board shorts. And I remember just before I became friends with Johnny Curtis, he's like, someone's already has that gimmick. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, what's a gimmick? What are you talking about? I'm like, why does he hate on me because I got board shorts? Then I realized that he was saying another wrestler wear board shorts. And then, of course, my smart ass is like, well, you're wearing tights, and my dad wore tights before you did, so what's up with that? You're copying everyone else. And then, of course, we became friends afterwards because he was like, damn, he kind of was like witty. Because I thought about it, and I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. And then I went up and approached him. I was like, hey, if you want to hate on me for, wearing board shorts, you need to hate on all these other guys because they're wearing tights. And if you want to say who did it first, my dad wore tights before you did. So what does that mean? And my uncle. So shut up. And then we became friends.
So let me ask you this then. Was there no preparation from your dad before going into the business as far as like in FCW? Like as far like you said, you didn't know what he was talking about with the gimmick. Like, how much did you know about the professional wrestling world before you started it? Like how much were you kind of in tune with?
About 50%.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's always interesting just to see because it's something that you were around.
I did a little bit with Steve Kern when I graduated high school, but then I moved so fast that like I did it for probably about 6 or 7 months.
Okay.
And then I moved to Orlando and started my career there. So none. And then when I got signed, it was right after wakeboarding season. So I just was fresh off there and just went straight to their schooling. So I had no other than a long time. And other than my amateur background and martial arts background, that's pretty much all I knew.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, I remember my first match was against Bo Rotundo. I don't know what his name is now in WWE. Bo Dallas, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's just Bo now.
Yeah, so I remember Dr. Tom going up to us and they're like, you have a match. And I'm like, I've been 3 months in the game. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This was in Port Gorda, Florida. And Taylor or Bo or whatever you want to call him, he was just as new as I was. We got signed pretty much at the same time. I mean, we've known each other our whole lives. Right. So Dr. Tom looks at each other and goes, if you guys get lost, just start amateur wrestling. And we're like, what? Like, you can't really just start amateur wrestling. Like, what's he talking about? So we had a match. It was, of course, the shits. But, it was fun. And, it was a great learning experience.
Let me ask you this thing, too, because when we had Heath Slater on the show a few months ago, he mentioned that the overall view of when you came into FCW was people were a bit intimidated because you were some, badass extreme sports guy, pro extreme sports guy. Did you have any clue to that? Because you seemed kind of surprised when he mentioned it. But Like, so when you came in, like, because you kind of said, like, a locker room for wrestling is intimidating. It can be when you're the new guy. So, like, did you pick up on that, or like you said, Fandango or Johnny Curtis, whatever you want to call him, kind of tried to intimidate you?
Well, I went straight to the shooters, and back in those days, we used to be able to shoot before wrestling practice,
Oh, nice.
and so it would be me, Roberto Del Rio, Low Key, Michael Tarver, this guy, what's his name, Kafu, and who else would get in there? There maybe a couple other guys, but before practice, we would actually do like amateur wrestling and jujitsu before practice. We'd get an hour of that, and then we'd go into practice and go practice. But we just enjoyed learning each other's style and learning different arm bars, and just, it's a different type of cardio, and we enjoy doing that. So I kind of just went straight to the shooters and kind of just like went there, and then a couple of the second generation wrestlers, of course, came to me and was like, "Hey, man, if you need anything, of course, we're brotherhood." So, after a couple of weeks, everything was all right. It just took like about a month of that weird, awkward stage of everybody like kind of testing everybody and trying to see, hey, is this guy just a punk? Is he here just because of his last name, or is this guy ready to, whip some ass?
Right. That's crazy, man. That's just a crazy wild ride from such a young age for you, man. Like, that's great. I couldn't imagine that.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, for me, for being a professional wakeboarder, I was always on TV. I was always on ESPN, for the extreme sports, for the X Games and stuff like that. So being on TV wasn't really too surprising to me. For me, it was just being in a small little room with thousands of people watching you wrestle. Is just like, whoa. Like, of course, when an amateur wrestle, there's a couple of tournaments where there's a lot of people, but nothing like a professional wrestler where they're chanting your name, or they're booing you, or, they're heckling you, or whatever it is. It could be anything. It's just a whole nother ball field. And, I love the adrenaline rush of just walking through that curtain and just going at it. It's something that, I was just born to do.
Yeah, man, there's nothing. There's definitely a difference from being like at a state tournament where you're really competing to you're in a wrestling show and you're performing. You know what I mean? Because it's a performance. You guys are doing art in that ring. So, man, that's crazy. And we were talking before we went on here about a wrestler that you're digging right now over on NXT, and I think it's still the NXT UK. I don't think he's
I
even on
believe it's the NXT UK. That's what it said on the TV when I was watching.
He might. I can't remember.
Well, it didn't really say that. It just said NXT, and then it had the UK symbol.
Yeah, it's the UK. He was champ at one time. I can't remember if he is or not. I'm really sorry, but it's hard to keep up with everything, and unfortunately, NXT UK is something I don't keep up with as often as I wish I could. But Walter is who we're talking about, so I want to hear it, because I've watched quite a bit of Walter on NXT, as well as I've watched stuff before he was with NXT. So, man, the guy, first of all, he's huge and just has a great look. But man, he can go in the ring with that size. So, what were you thinking? Because you mentioned you were digging him, and
Well, one of my friends actually was like, "Hey, Wes, check this out," because he knows, like, I'll watch wrestling only if it's like either really bad or really, really good. And he's like, "Dude, you will love this guy's style." And I've seen him before when he did some stuff at NXT, and I was just kind of impressed with him. And I was like, "Man, this guy knows how to work." So then my buddy sent me the link, and I just clicked on the link on my phone, and it brought me to I forgot who he was wrestling against, but man, what a great match. I mean, the finish was phenomenal. The chops, the way that they would work a body part, the way that they put in professional wrestling into, making it look like a real shoot and not breaking out into song and dance. It was just absolutely amazing.
yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about I'm wondering if it's the match that just recently happened because
It just happened. My buddy just sent it to me yesterday when I watched it.
yeah, because it's getting a lot of praise, Walter versus Ilya, I think is the guy's
Yeah,
name.
that's what it was. That's why I didn't really remember the names because it's like that's not really a professional wrestler's name.
Yeah, it's a little weird. But again, this is NXT UK. The UK keeps throwing me off. But yeah, it went just over 25 minutes. It was on the UK NXT show on the WWE network this past Thursday. Walter retained his title in this brutal bout. And that's what I haven't watched this yet, but I
Yeah,
have
I
heard
know. Oh
about
my
it.
god,
No, no,
it's
no. I'm
so.
making plans I got a couple busy days here, but this weekend it's on the list to watch. Because I've heard it was just a brutal, hard, just hitting, just great match.
But they did spots in between though. They made it. They threw in professional wrestling. They made it what professional wrestling should look like, in my eyes. Everyone has a different view, and I view everyone's opinion the same. Like, everyone has a valid opinion of what they want to perceive professional wrestling. But I really thought Walter was like, man, it made me actually want to watch wrestling again. I was like, ooh, I mean, I love watching AEW. Like, AEW, it's a love-hate relationship with them right now. I love watching my girl wrestle. I love watching Brian Cage. I love a couple of the other guys that they have. But then some of the stuff that they do just, I don't know if it's a trend because believe it or not, I tried to watch episode of Impact and about 4 minutes into it, I turned it off and I vowed never to watch Impact ever again. And that sucks because I got friends on that show. But when they did that murder scene and Tommy Dreamer came out and they were like marking up the corpse and he was trying to act like he was like, ooh, what happened? What a mystery. I was like, what?
Yeah, so like the crazy thing about that
With wrestling.
Yeah, the crazy thing about that whole segment is because I don't know if you know how that like all led up to that
I
because it
don't
was
care. I
no, I
don't
know you don't care,
care.
but here's what you got to hear though, because you're right. It's so
What do I have to hear? Tell me what's going to change my opinion about
oh
what.
no, it's not. It's going to further cement your opinion, but you got to hear it because it's just so crazy. And that is, they basically did like 5-6 weeks of this fake real world show, like old real world on MTV with all those wrestlers that were in the ring during that wedding, and like that's where this all came from. And they would do a match each one, or like a stupid match in the house. It was the most bizarre thing. And like Tommy Dreamers was the house owner or something, and like it was really weird. It was it it was strange. And then during that is when this Johnny Bravo guy and Rosemary get engaged, and then the wedding happened on Impact where he apparently dies, which it's so weird because like you said, there's some really great talent. Like Rosemary, I love Rosemary. I love watching her in the ring. But like you said, I don't need to see a wedding with a fake murder. And I guess Tommy Dreamer is going to be detective. So it's like, what are they doing with that? And then they also just took another huge hit with their women's division with Kylie Ray all of a sudden just retiring from wrestling now out of nowhere, and also no showing for Bound for Glory.
I
Which,
wonder why.
well, and for her, she's got some really bad mental health issues, so she's going to leave everything to focus on that. So, whatever.
Anyways,
Mhm.
everyone, please go send her some positive vibes. Go, just please send her some positive vibes. Nothing. Just try to cheer her up, and you can do one thing for the Briscoe and Big A show. Send her some messages and just send her some positive messages and try to cheer her up.
Yeah, most definitely. I love Kylie Ray. I've been impressed with her since.
Don't mention wrestling. Just say, "Hey, we're behind you. We support
Mhm.
you."
Yeah, let her know you're there. Just an amazing, talented person. And it's sad to see that she's struggling. It's sad to hear that some of it may have come on because of the wrestling fans, which is something you and I have talked about, and I've talked about on other shows and with other people. And I don't know what's going on with the world of fans for the world of wrestling currently, because there's a lot of bad people. And I see the female talent constantly, daily dealing with this on their social medias and stuff. And I do not understand what is wrong with these people. And I'm sure you've heard, I'm sure, unfortunately, you guys have to deal with it with Red Velvet and just stupid fans saying stupid things, mainly male figures being, the
Creepy.
the dumb, creepy, just rude, just gross, just mean. You know what I mean? For Kylie Ray, it sounded like they were body shaming her, and that's what led her to leave AEW. And then she worked her ass off to lose weight, came back to Impact, and was still getting
No one
told.
should body shame anybody. No one should judge anybody.
Definitely.
Especially at the time of world that we're living in right now, of anything, we should embrace everybody and support everybody. There should be no divide. There should be no whatever. Don't And the people that are shaming her, I guarantee you, are probably not in shape. I guarantee the people that are shaming her are not athletic and don't have the guts to step into the ring in front of the TV. So, you know what? I really feel like, you know, it's it's bullcrap and people should just stop. Being a keyboard tough guy doesn't get nothing out of life. It doesn't prove nothing. You might be right some of the times, but most of the time you're wrong. And just be a good person. There's no reason for you to shame somebody else for whether it's them, their size, their color, the way, even if the way they wrestle, who cares? I stopped judging people a long time ago. And like, I would judge people and like, oh, I don't like his style of wrestling, or his style of wrestling doesn't fit my style of wrestling. And then once I realized, you know what? We're all entertainment. We're all entertaining people. I don't care anymore. You can do whatever you want. As long as, you know what, you get chairs, whatever, that's fine with me. Do whatever you want. I'm over trying to fight for, oh, wrestling should be this way. You know what? I give up. So I think everyone else should, if you got hate in your heart, just let it out. Stop, I don't know.
I don't get it either, because it's like wrestling fans right now should be loving the time we're in. You've got 2 major shows. You've got like 3 other like decently big promotions going, plus all the independents that are around the country right
So
now.
much good wrestling going on right now.
So much. Like, I'm happy that there's much wrestling.
And everybody's shape and size works to their advantage. She's a hell of a wrestler. You don't like, that's like people making fun of Red Velvet because maybe she's short.
Yeah,
She will whip your ass. I'm telling you right now, as a man that's 6 foot and over 200 pounds, she will whip your ass.
I believe it. I saw her punches the other night.
What?
I said, I believe it. I saw her punches in the ring the other night. Those things look.
Oh, brutal. She wasn't scared of Nia Rose.
No, I mean that, and she was throwing some good punches during that tag match too, man.
Yeah,
love, man. She's got hands.
Yeah, and never judge people. Always just, like my dad says, you never judge a book by its cover.
Yeah. It's just sad that this has to happen in the world. It's sad that it caused someone who had a very promising upcoming career in this world now to have to quit it. And it just doesn't make sense. I mean, she's so talented. She's a beautiful woman. That's the other thing that makes no sense when people are like, she's gross. It's like, she's beautiful. What are you talking about?
And who is them to judge and to tell someone if they're gross?
Right.
I mean, like, you're probably gross. I'm gross. What I mean? Like, everyone that has who makes you judge to judge someone else? Like, no one's perfect. Everyone's different, but don't ever judge someone and to use harsh words like gross and body shaming. It's just horrible. Like, we live in a world now that stuff is uncalled for. And as us, we need to stick up for, when we see someone getting bullied or someone getting shamed, we should stick up for them. We should not allow that to happen. So as a, group and as a community, let's start sticking up for each other, and let's start, telling the people, hey, that's wrong, because, we can help and we can stop the problem too by stepping up.
Yeah, especially in the wrestling world, in the fan community, that's where it stops. We have to call each other out. So, it just has to happen to change. But, man, yeah, it's sad. But you are right, getting back to that original topic, and that is They're going off the rails over there at Impact with whatever they got going on.
What?
This is amazing because the talent. I mean, dude, they got Sammy Callahan, you got Tommy Dreamer, you've got Rosemary, Taya Valkyrie, you have Deonna Purrazzo, you've got
Heath Slater, Rhino, Luke Gallows, right. Carl Anderson.
EC3 was there. He's already gone.
EC3's gone?
Yeah, he's done. This was his last week at Impact already.
Oh, I guess he's probably going to AEW, I'm guessing.
Something.
Yeah, he's done?
That's what I read.
Yeah, I watched it and I was just like, holy moly. And then I watched like their little sports thing with like D'Lo and stuff. And then that was god awful. It looked like D'Lo did not care at all. D'Lo was like, why am I here? Why am I reading this? This is stupid. I was watching it and I was just like, this is the worst show I ever seen. Like, literally, there's better stuff on YouTube than this. Like, this is god awful. I hate to like really bury a company like this, but when I watched Impact Wrestling, Lord, I ain't ever going back there.
Yeah.
You can forget about that, guys. You will not see WES BRISCO at Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
Sorry for your luck. As James
too, because I love Sammy Callahan. And
I love a lot of people. Luke Gallows, whatever, Carl Anderson, Heath Slater, Rhino. There's a bunch of good people. I did see that EC3 was doing some matches for ROH.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I believe he was at the ROH tournament coming up.
That could definitely be right. It is a real shit show, Nick. You're definitely right. Yeah, man. Well, I heard NWA is coming back, or they're getting some TV tapings going again now too, which that's an interesting thing too. Seeing NWA, the promotion Billy Corgan is reviving, working hand in hand with AEW, because we've seen Thunder Rosa there. We saw her drop
what talent she is. And I think she's the first female to have her own independent wrestling company too.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Stephanie's actually worked for her company. So our Red Velvet has actually worked for her company. So big shouts out to Thunder Rosa for not only being a professional wrestler, but for owning her own company, booking her own matches, and pretty much being a boss, which big hands up to Thunder Rosa. Like, what a badass woman,
For real. She is a badass chick, dude. Thunder Rosa is amazing. I love it.
Love.
Yeah, and then we've seen Serena Deeb, who won the title off Thunder Rosa at a different show, come out and put the title up or wrestle on AEW with that title. But yeah, and then on the pre-show for Full Gear this Saturday, she's going to have a title match, an NWA title match on the AEW Full Gear pre-show. So
I would like to see her in Red Velvet. Oh, that'd be a great match.
Dude, that would be pretty amazing. I mean, and they're all apparently there and working it, because that's the other thing too. Billy Corgan did come out and say, we've been saying this for a while, Nick, and I don't know, maybe Cody's just a little scared. I don't know. We'll see if he'll do it.
You guys tweet it and make it happen.
Yeah, Wes would take Cody in a heartbeat. That's probably why he's denying the match right now. But yeah, everybody let Cody know. Get on his Twitter. He sees him. We all know he reads his Twitter. Get on there. Let him know that there's somebody he's dodging. But yeah, dude, and that would be cool to see, because they're all, working together under that, I guess, umbrella now. Yeah. But that's pretty, dude. That's what I'm saying. That's it's kind of funny, because the NWA women's division almost felt like it was getting a little bit more love than the actual AEW's title was getting for a few weeks here. But those are some talented women that are coming in there. Serena Deeb she's a pro, a legend. She was in a straight edge society with Punk, had a great independent career, now having this resurgence, and is excellent in the ring. And like you said, we've all said what we could say about Thunder Rosa. She's just the best. So, and then you got Red Velvet in there. You've got some of these other new girls they brought on. You got the Abaddon character.
Yeah, what a great wrestler she is. What a great character that is.
Yeah, and she had a scare a couple weeks ago. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I'm not at liberty.
Yeah, no, she's good though. That's the good thing though, is that it sounded like she was all right afterwards. But
yeah, she's fine. She's good.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just a great, like, it's captivating when she's on the screen. You can't look away.
No, What a great video.
Oh, it's so good. It really is. And this is why I'm saying there's so much hope for that women's division over there that I feel like they kind of were, they let everything else start before that, I feel like. But yeah, man, it's gonna be good. What do you think of Chris Jericho and MJF Saturday nights?
I don't even want to talk about it.
It's weird because it's a weird build to it. And I think the whole purpose is they're going to have MJ, like Jericho's going to put MJF over to be that big heel so he can go babyface again. But that's what it seems like. But it's been an interesting road to get to this match on Saturday. That's for sure.
I got a headache.
You know what I want to know though is why, and Taz made a good point of this on the last episode, but I'm bummed that we're not going to get any Brian Cage on the full gear card.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed on that too. I think Brian Cage just doesn't have an opponent. You know, like everyone's scared, and Brian Cage has been walking through everybody. And sad thing is that you know, AEW, if they would just open up their eyes a little bit and give someone a call, I'll go out there and whoop Brian Cage's ass any day of the week. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's going to be a walk in the park, but I guarantee you, I'll put up more in a fight than that hot dog world-class eating champion did. I guarantee you that I will at least make him believe, make him hurt, make him wish he never got in the ring with Wes Brisco. I will make sure that he remembers my name, whether I got to stomp it onto his forehead or I got to put his arm into the arm bar and break that big-ass arm of his.
My other question, because not question, but the other thing that'd be cool, though, is I'd like to see you with that FTW belt. I think it'd look good around your strap there. But the other thing, though, is, that came from Taz. Wasn't Taz part of your Impact? Taz
was part of that, but it doesn't matter. We're not talking about Taz right now. I don't care about Taz. We're talking about me going to verse Brian Cage and taking that title away from Brian Cage, the one that he holds so dearly to his heart. If we were friends, but I keep seeing him on Instagram. I keep seeing him hold that title, and I keep getting jealous. I hate to say that, but I'm getting jealous that he's just boasting and bragging that he doesn't have any competition. He doesn't have anybody worthy of fighting him. But when he could just open up his eyes and realize, yeah, he does have someone willing to fight him. He does have someone willing to challenge him. It doesn't matter where it's at. I don't care if it's at the gym. I don't care if it's at the ring. I don't care if it's at the football field. I don't care where you put it.
This is true. And, I mean, it was given to him. It was given to him, so he hasn't had a real test. He didn't have, yeah, I agree. Well, guys, you got to let AEW know that this needs to happen, and you need to let Brian Cage know that it needs to happen. That's what you guys need to do. But yeah, they actually have a decent card for this weekend, though, man. We're gonna get.
Do you have the card up?
Yeah, we're gonna get Cody and Darby Allin for the TNT Championship.
Okay, who are you going for? I mean, I already know who's gonna win, so I'm going for Cody.
Yeah, I'm going Cody as well. It'd be weird to see him lose it already. He just got it back. Another match that's a lot of buzz about how this is going to be a really good match, and that is the basically first contenders match for the world title in AEW. Kenny Omega versus Hangman Adam Page.
I'm going with Hangman Adam Page.
You're going to go with the Hangman? He's been drinking his whiskey a lot.
Yeah, I like Hangman, man. I think if he could put down the bottle, he could be good.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Hangman as well. Either way, it's going to be just a sick match. Those guys are going to go all out on that one. Of course, there's Shida versus Nyla Rose for the women's championship.
Who are you going for?
What's that?
Who are you going for on this one? Who do you
like Nyla? She's had like 4 shots. She's got to get it eventually.
I think so too, and I like her swagger. So, I mean, other than her going against Red Velvet, which whatever. I'm going with Nia.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the safe bet. She's got Vicky Guerrero in her corner too, man.
I know.
Things happen when you got Vicky with you.
Exactly.
We got we already said Chris Jericho and MJF. Why is my there we go. Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara, they're gonna have an elite deletion match. So what's interesting about this is obviously the last time these two had an actual match is when Matt Hardy took that very, 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 very scary, dangerous spot. So and it's a deletion match. So my guess is this is happening at the Hardy compound, like the other two deletion matches that have happened. So I don't know. It could be creative. It could be cool. I just hope no one dies.
I'm going for Matt Hardy.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Matt Hardy too. Especially after that last match, man. He needs to come out with a win. Orange Cassidy, John Silver was just added, I think, this week to the card, even last night. Which I really like John Silver from the Dark Order. That guy's hilarious. And then again, on the pre-show, NWA Women's World Championship, Serena Deeb versus Allison Kay. What'd you say?
I'm going with Serena.
Oh, yeah, Serena the whole way. And I did miss one match that we need to talk about as well, and that is the AEW Tag Team Championship match, a match that in the wrestling world has had a couple years of build, if not more than a couple of years. In AEW, it's had a little bit of build. And that is
not build, zero.
Yeah, I know. FTR and the Young Bucks is going to finally happen. Sad news about this match, though, is I think it is Matt Johnson has an injured ankle. Is what came out today, so we're not going to get probably that match the dream match everybody was expecting from these two teams. That again in the wrestling world, when these guys have been in different companies and online media taking shots at each other, this has been a build for a few years, this dream match, and now we're going to finally get it. And and FTR came out and said it this week too. I don't know if you heard that, but they said it too. They weren't happy with this build up to this match.
I don't understand why don't they just put this match off, let something else fill in and really give the people what they want when they don't really need to give this match away. They could easily fill that spot with someone else. Red Velvet and Brandy could go wrestle somebody. Like, you know what I mean? There's let another team go and let everyone heal up and let them fully go to battle 100% because, as we all know, when the history book's been written, they're going to say, well, I didn't have my other tag team partner. So no matter what FTR does, if they win, they lose, it's a handicap. It doesn't look good for either one of them, to be honest with you. So in my eyes, if I was a booker, I probably would have scratched that match and maybe have FTR beat up the other young buck and put him in the hospital and then go from there and say, hey, I don't know. That's just my opinion. That's kind of how I would have told the story, beat them both up really bad. Or unless FTR goes out there and just beats the living crap out of the one young buck and then just leaves them there, But I doubt that's going to happen. So, in my eyes, that's how I would book the match. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I would have scratched it, or I would have FTR go in there and beat the living crap out of that one young buck. Just beat them up so bad that everyone's just like, what? And just leave them in the middle of the ring and leave. What a buildup that is. Holy moly. Wouldn't you want to see them get revenge? Wouldn't you? I would pay money to see that.
Yeah, and that's a great, like you said, that's the way I would love to see it. I would love to see the match not actually happen because, again, when these four guys get in the ring together, you want them at 100%.
You want to see that magic. You want to see great tag team wrestling. And right now, you're not going to be able to see it. And that's the whole thing with those two teams is the Young Bucks are a great tag team. FTR is a great tag team. So you want to see the both of the best of the tag teams. And one of them's hurt. So,
yeah. And that's a great way to book it. Like you said, have it where you don't have to just say the match isn't happening now. Like have them take out the other one or have them take out Matt with his hurt ankle even more to where he can't wrestle now on Saturday, like it happens in the locker room. You're done just building that feud, which again, these guys, there's been so much shit talking when they weren't even in the same promotion online that it's like, how did we not get more between these two interacting? It was kind of just this weird.
Well, because it seems like they kept switching roles with each other. One would be heel, one would be face, and they would turn, and the other team would have to turn. It seems like I just don't know. I don't. There was so much buildup for this, and I was looking forward to see it. I was like, yes, oh my god, this is going to be the best match in AEW. Like this match is going to go down in history. And then all of a sudden, it's like one of them gets hurt. Then I'm like, now I'm like, what are they going to do? It doesn't look good for both teams. The outcome of this match, it doesn't want me to invest depending on how they do it. I guess we're just gonna have to wait to Saturday to see how they do it. But depending on how they do it, it could determine whether we want to see him again or we never ever want to see it ever again or see them wrestle each other ever again. It could go both ways. So we don't know until Saturday. So everybody tune into AEW. Let's see this Saturday. Who knows what might happen.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. I can't wait to see Full Gear this weekend. Yeah, and something else to look forward to on the AEW side. Wednesday night, we're gonna get round 2 of the Lucha Bros against each other. Penta versus Ray is gonna happen again this coming week on Wednesday, which those guys killed it the last time they were in there together fighting each other.
Yeah, but where do you go from there?
That's why I want to see it. You know what I mean? Because you're either gonna top it or you're not. So it's going to be one or the other. You're going to be happy or let down. And I want to see it.
Is that the last match we went over on the card? We pretty much went over every match.
Yeah. That tag match was the last one. I had missed that before I jumped to the pre-show. So that's the Full Gear card. I don't think I missed anything else.
Warlow doesn't have a match.
What's that?
Warlow doesn't have a match.
Who? Oh no, he's not. But you got to think Inner Circle and
Jurassic Express is not. They don't have a match.
Who?
Jurassic Express.
No, they're not going to be on this one.
Huh.
Private Party's not.
Brian Cage is not.
Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. Although I will say this. I'm sorry. No, that is the main event. We totally skipped the main event. Sorry, you're right.
Oh my God, you need to get some notes together, Ace, before we start doing this show.
I don't know how I forgot this one either, because this is probably the most excited one I'm for, because I love Eddie Kingston. So Eddie Kingston, John Moxley in an I Quit match. I don't know if you saw all of Dynamite on Wednesday, but when these two were in the ring, man, I mean, I just can't wait for this match. I really can't. These guys are going to be great.
I'm going with Moxley.
He's almost at 300 days of that title. I feel like it might come to an end soon. I wish it happens, and it probably won't. I'm going to go Eddie Kingston. Just because I like the guy, though, man. I could listen.
I got $1 on it.
$1 on it?
Yep.
All right.
Some $1 here on the show.
$1 on the main event at Full Gear. I'm down. What? Oh, yeah, man. That's gonna be a good match. What are your thoughts? Because I know one thing you've been kind of talked about before is that you like someone who can get on a mic and actually can sell what they're doing, make you buy in and believe what's happening. And to me, Eddie Kingston on a microphone, I mean, I can listen to that all day. Like, I'm invested.
Yeah, I just wish he would invest himself into a gym.
I was thinking that was going to come up. And you know what? I think he's the first guy that would be like, you're right, I should. But
he sure doesn't float on my boat.
But again, though, that dude for sure. That's gonna be a fun match, man. That just because those two, just the vibe with them is so good together. Like you buy into it. So it'll be interesting to watch. One other thing I want to ask you about before we end this episode, we're going to take it back to the WWE side, and that is Survivor Series is coming up. We only got a few more weeks till it happens, and the one big surprise that's happening this year with Survivor Series that a lot of people enjoyed from last year is they are not involving NXT on the show. It is literally going to be a Raw versus SmackDown show.
Oh, I like that.
not a lot of people too, and I think NXT, the talent from what I've heard, is not even happy with it. Like they were kind of hoping that was
No, I mean, when you look at Survivor Series, they've built NXT up to such a big brand now. Why would they not be part of Survivor Series? I mean, that just brings more talent, more matches, a better outcome. I mean, some of the three ways you could have, oh my God, some of the best three ways ever. If you had a one from NXT, one from SmackDown, one from Raw, oh my God, I could just picture just the matches would be phenomenal.
Yeah, dude, you got Finn Balor, you've got Johnny Gargano.
It blows me out of the mind that they would not even think of that.
It's pretty really, and right now I feel like since Halloween Havoc on, not that NXT hasn't been doing great, but like these last few weeks have been super like really good. I think part of that has to do with is Pat McAfee finally coming back after his stellar debut match, and actually having a squad with him, Orny and Birch, I think, and then Pete Dunne. And obviously this is a setup to have them against Undisputed Era. Man, it makes
he's surrounded by great talent, and man, Pat McAfee, he's doing one hell of a job,
dude.
What a great dude! That dude is phenomenal.
It's just, it's amazing. It's amazing. Like he took the mic on NXT yesterday, and they still. So for WWE, NXT shows are really the only thing that actually have live fans at this moment. They do have a small number of live fans at that show. And
I believe Steph says that AEW has live fans now.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, AEW's been doing it for a while, and this weekend they're thinking they're gonna have about 1,000 fans for Full Gear. So it's gonna be fun to watch that show just with that many people there. But for WWE, NXT's been the only thing that's allowed any fans in. Raw and SmackDown hasn't yet. And the fans that were there were booing McAfee so loud, and and some of it was piped in, obviously WWE does that.
Yeah, it's like hard, like you can hear the real boos, and then when they do the pipe-in boos, you're like, I've heard that boo. I've like heard that like cheer back right after that one boo. You're like, that's been on repeat. That's on the video game.
Right, exactly. But what's fun is they got the hockey glass up, so like the actual fans bang it the whole time. And I mean, they were banging the crap out of that. Yeah, it was great. They banged the crap out of it the whole time he was on the mic. Like he got so much, and he's playing it. He reminded me of Bobby Heenan. You know how Bobby Heenan would look at you humanoids. Like he talked to the fans and would say, "You're stupid idiot. You're a stupid idiot." And I was just like, "This is what the old school was like. This is what it was." It was just, dude. Why they're not involving these guys on Survivor Series is beyond me.
McAfee in Survivor Series.
And that, that's what we were talking. You were mentioning Walter earlier, and you were like, "How is this guy not on the main?"
I would put Walter in there and have him excuse my language, but have him go in there and clean house.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Come out there with the UK flag, come out there and just squash some of the guys, and then be like, I stand for UK NXT. Everyone be like, whoa.
Right. I want to say Walter was in last year's Royal Rumble and had a pretty decent showing, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I mean, yeah, it just makes no sense. Like you got Walter, you got all these guys on the NXT talent on the roster, and it's just like you're gonna put this show up with just some big names and then just some people you got just kind of floating around, and it's killing the storylines that are happening on Raw and SmackDown because now they kind of have to just stop everything they were doing, so it could be like, well, no, we're against you now.
Yeah, I think if they would have thrown in the NXT, they could have got away with keeping the storylines stir fresh for Raw and SmackDown, and they wouldn't have hurt nothing and kept everything kosher. But WWE does what WWE wants to do.
Yeah, I will tell you this, though. The one thing they're doing that looks interesting, and that is it looks like we're on our way to a very cool triple threat match between Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, and Bray Wyatt. I'm down for that down the line.
Me too.
So,
that's gonna be one.
All right, man. What else? What do you got going on, man? You said you had a show this week? Or is it
I got a show this week, and then, of course, popping 30. Sorry, it's been a long podcast. 53 Sports, plugging that, trying to get that company out there. And basically, what we do at 53 Sports is that we help wrestlers, NFL players, anybody that's into sports. We help you get the contract that you want. We make sure that when you sign a contract that you're getting everything and you understand what you're signing. Because a lot of guys, it's like the music industry. You know, a lot of times you hear about all these artists when they get young, all these bands that get taken advantage of because they didn't know what they're signing. They thought, oh my God, this is a great deal. And they never sat there and read the fine print. Here at 53 Sports, we break down the contract for you and we show you what everything means. We help you kind of just understand what you're signing and understand what you're going to get out of return and what the company wants out of return of you. And we're doing really well. And, you know, Steph at Red Velvet is one of our clients, and we have a bunch of other clients. And, you know, we handle bookings. Because a lot of times as a professional wrestler, dealing with indie bookings can be difficult. You don't really want to tell the promoter, and then the promoter sometimes tries to haggle you down on price. And if you're a good person like me, sometimes you're like, okay, I'll do it for less. And then you get there, and it's just not good. But at 53 Sports, we take care of your booking fees. We make sure that you get the money that you want out of your booking fees, and we make sure you get paid. You do not do nothing. And if you don't get paid, we sue the other company. You know, as you know, 53 Sports, our head guy, the guy that runs the company, Mr. CJ, he is one of the best attorneys that I know. And you don't want to mess with him.
Hell yeah. So 53 Sports, guys, make sure you check that out. Again, like you said, check out Red Velvet on AEW. See what else she's mixing up on there. I don't know. Maybe they bring some women's tag team titles into the picture like WWE did, and her and Brandy could take those up. That'd be nice.
I mean, those would be what a hell of a tag team those two girls are.
Oh, amazing. I don't know if I want more Dustin Reynolds doing the mixing and dancing in between the two of them.
Yeah,
but
he went a little too ham on that one.
He was having a little too much fun with himself there. Yeah, man. Otherwise, guys, you can check me out Tuesday nights on YouTube, the 2 Count, the number 2 count, me and comedian John Russell do usually a top 3 list and a bunch of wrestling talk. So make sure you join us on there. This week we're doing an 8:30 show starting at late. So check us out Tuesday nights on YouTube or on Facebook, the 2 Count. What are we doing? Are we announcing a guest for our next episode?
I got a couple of guests lined up. I got Kimo, he's gonna come on. I got my dad, which is gonna be a really big one.
Yes.
I know I've been saying Swagger, but Swagger will be on soon.
Which, by the way, shout out to Jake Hagar and his fight at Bellator last week. Kicked ass.
Of course he did.
The dude was both of them were so beat up, and if you saw him on Dynamite last night with I think they said 15 stitches, messed up nose, black eye, and still won the goddamn match. Dude's a beast. His wife posted a picture on social media that night because she was ringside, and I mean, like, he's knocking dude out while taking up. His face is just. Dude, don't mess with Jake Hagar because that guy will put anyone.
He's like 6'6".
I mean, that guy is just a beast. So congrats to him on that big win. Still undefeated, and he beat the only other undefeated fighter in Bellator.
Yeah, and Evan Bourne is another one that I want on the podcast, and maybe even get Thunder Rosa. That'd be a good one to have on. So there's a bunch of guests that we got lined up, and I don't know. We'll be rocking and rolling. Just look for us on Thursdays. And if not, it's every other Thursday. So
yeah, that's definitely
your Thursdays right.
Yeah, man. Check it out. Follow us on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. Click the notifications so you know when we go live on YouTube as well. And all our past episodes are on YouTube as well. All of our audio-only versions exclusively on VOC Radio Nation. Check them out at vocnation.com. Check out all their other great shows. Brady Hicks in the Room. Shelly Martinez is on there. A bunch of great stuff going on.
Yeah, the VOC has a bunch of great audio, a bunch of different podcasts, a bunch of different content to check out. So I would definitely recommend not only listening to us on the VOC, but checking out everything else that the VOC has to offer, because their catalog of material is very, very good. And just, you never know what you might like. You might like someone else's podcast. Just give it a shot.
Yeah, definitely check them out. They've got some excellent wrestling podcasts. So vocnation.com, check them out. Thank you to them for being that exclusive spot for our audio downloads. And yeah, check us out on social media. That's where you'll be up to date. You'll know if we got a new episode coming out, or if you just need to check out one of our past ones. And you can keep up to date with all the stuff we do. I try to get on, and guys, on Twitter, if you follow me at Big Ace 4, the number 4 life, I try to get on during the big shows, the pay-per-views, and tweet along, so you can get on there, follow me, and we can talk during the show as well. But Patreon coming soon. We're just working on more things, so when it does launch, it's as good as it can be.
I believe we're going to launch it the next Thursday, guaranteed.
We'll see. Hopefully, there it is. We're going to launch it.
We'll see. It's going to be done.
All right, we're going to launch it next Thursday, so look for that. I know someone was actually asking about having merchandise sent in for you to sign. Maybe that's something we can work out with the Patreon, guys. So
only if you do sign up for the Patreon.
So check all that out next week. And if there is no show next week, it'll be the week after. But yeah, guys, enjoy your weekend.